Fred Mangol, Captain, U.S. Navy, retired. Our job was to support the Army, the Marines, and the Army ashore in Vietnam. And sometimes early in the war, we supported the armed vills that they had scattered around the countryside. In fact, it was an Army officer in one of the armed vills that helped us with our most successful mission, which was he spotted a battalion of Viet Cong that was going to attack the sub-capital there in southern I Corps, and we had been trying to track them all day along with aviation units, and he finally found them, and they were hiding behind a hill. They thought they were safe there from any naval units, but they weren't safe from us because we could go up and over with our rockets. So what we did is, this ship, even though it was small, on a destroyer you only have one stable element. The stable element is what in your fire control solution tells you where the horizon is and gives you a stable platform to figure your solution for shore bombardment. We had two stable elements, so we could split our battery. So I could put two launchers on one stable element, two launchers on the other. We had a battalion laid out on the floor there, and what we did is we split them, and then we did a cross. And we fired 150 rounds in about a minute and a half. Then we waited about 2 or 3 minutes. Then we fired Willie Peter from the 5-inch gun over the top of them. We waited a few minutes for the Willie Peter to work because it burns everything. And then we fired another 150 rounds over the top of them with VT, variable time fuse. And then we waited 5 minutes, and then we fired at the far end of this valley as they tried to get away. And we got 176 confirmed that they counted. And that battalion was out of the war for 10 months. That was really nice. We got a nice Bravo Zulu from Westmoreland for that. I think we probably killed more than that, but you know, nobody went in there to count them, you know, and they always carried their wounded and their weapons away, you know. It was all Indian country. We fought right from the DMZ in the north all the way down into Fort Corps and up some of the rivers. When the Viet Cong mined a ship going up into Saigon, they even sent us up the river there to support that operation. When we first got there, we had to go all the way back to Philippines to rearm. I said, hey, that takes us off the line too long. So I said, why can't you put some in Cam Ranh Bay for us? And so they did. They moved some ammunition into Cam Ranh Bay, and that way we're only off the line for 3 days. Whereas, if we, see, the ship was slow. We only did 12 knots. That was our max speed, 12 knots. If we had to go back to the Philippines, the fastest we could do that turnaround was about 8 days. Whereas if we went to Cam Ranh Bay, we could do that in 3. And be back on the line in I Corps, which is primarily where we shot, in I Corps. And it was amazing. In I Corps, the battalion that I mentioned that we chewed up, they were able to cover a distance of about 20 kilometers without ever coming to the surface. But they had controlled that area back into the 1940s. They had frustrated the Japanese, they had frustrated the French. They've been there a long time, you know. It wasn't just us. It wasn't, you know, it wasn't just the Army, they were frustrating. They had been there a long time. And they were good fighters. I mean, you know, and they were good fighters. They really were.